Hello my friends, it's Daniel Midson-Short back again with another Book of the Week review. It has been a long time since I've done a Book of the Week review. I feel like I say that every time I do a Book of the Week. Look, let's be real, it's not Book of the Week, it's Book of the Year at this stage. But anyway, point is, I just read an awesome book recently. It is the book Atomic Habits, which is what I want to talk about today. I loved it so much that I actually got the audiobook version as well, which I've been listening to, so I've doubled up on this one. Atomic Habits by James Clear, probably one of my favorite books, personal development books that I've read in the last, I would say, 5 years, for a number of reasons, and I want to share a couple of those reasons with you today, lessons that I've got from the book, and recommend it to you to read. If you're a person who likes to set goals, or you're a person I call an actualizer type personality, then I think you will really get a lot out of this book. Or if you're a person who's kind of stuck in a rut a little bit, someone who needs a bit of motivation and empowerment in their life, this book is just great because it gives you some really simple strategies to use, and also the philosophy of what it means to build good habits in your life. Now, to start off with, what I really enjoyed about this book particularly is the way the author approached it. So if you don't know, James Clear is an author. He's now a speaker and a consultant as well. But basically, he's what you call an autodidact. He's someone who is self-taught in the realm of habits. And I don't want to ruin the book for anyone, but basically, he started off in his life wanting to pursue a sporting career, and then, some misfortune hit him, and so he had to kind of redirect his actions, and through that he learned new habits, and that became kind of his way of learning about how he could improve himself. And he wrote a blog which grew to a very high level of followers, and from that the book Atomic Habits started to evolve. So that's what's cool about this book, as opposed to people who are university professors who do a lot of like psychology studies, or people who've made it in business and then write a memoir about how you should do it as well. I think James Clear takes a different approach in that he's learned this stuff for himself, he's implemented it, and then he's using it. And I also like the fact that he doesn't present himself as a guru. He doesn't sort of say, if you do what I've done, you'll be this amazing success. No, he's a very normal, down-to-earth guy. He talks about himself in the book, and you kind of feel like, okay, this is a dude I could just meet on the street and talk to. So there's that approachable element to it as well. So to begin with, the book starts off with a discussion of what habits are and how they work. And I think for all of us, we kind of understand basically what a habit is. We have habits in our own lives, but we don't realize how much they impact who we are and how we live and the kind of results we get. He has this great idea in the beginning where he says we all feel like if we want to achieve massive success, we have to put forth massive effort or massive action. And you may have heard that from, different self-help gurus, massive action, momentum, get out there, make the effort, hustle, whatever. And look, that is true to a certain point. If you're putting in all this effort and energy, yes, you probably will get ahead faster. But for the vast majority of us, we burn out on doing that pretty damn quickly. So what he suggests is that habits should be small little actions that you take consistently every day or every week, whatever they are, and you just continue to do them over time. He uses this phrase, which I love. He says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. And I love that idea, just that you basically, over time, you compound your efforts, similar to putting, $10 in the bank every week. Slowly it starts to gain interest, and then you have several thousand or 100,000 or whatever, depending how long you do it. Well, it's the same with any habit, whether it's health or whether it's relationships, business, self-development, whatever it is. The compound interest factor kicks in because the habit is in place, those small little things. So I've really taken that on board. Rather than punishing myself to create massive action in my life, I've just thought, what tiny action can I take that I can compound over time if I just do it consistently? So that mindset has really helped me to change my approach to habits and to start a lot of new habits, which I'll explain as we get into this review. So the first big idea that I want to share with you that I learned from this book is that if you want to change your habits, you have to change your identity, which might sound strange, but very often we kind of go at this reverse. And he has a great diagram in the book, not wanting to steal his concepts, but have a look in the book and you'll see this as well. The idea that, you have outcomes and then you have processes, and at the core, you have identity. And very often in our lives, what we end up doing is focusing on the outcomes or the processes, hoping that they will change our lives, not realizing that actually when something is part of our identity, the way we think about ourselves, it's much, much easier to do. There's a great analogy he uses where he says, for instance, someone who is a non-smoker versus someone who's trying to give up smoking. If someone offers them a cigarette, the person will say, oh, no thanks, I don't smoke. Whereas someone who's trying to give up will say, I'm trying to give up. And that identity difference makes the struggle much harder for the person trying to give up. Whereas if they just said, I don't smoke, then it would start to change their identity over time. It seems simple, but that is very true. If you look at all the things in your life that you value about yourself, that you have pride in, those are part of your identity, and those are the things that you take more seriously. You show to the world that you value them, and you probably take actions, and they're part of your habits so that you actually succeed in those parts of your life. So your identity is crucial if you want to start to change your habits over the long term. I know this in my own life. Any time that I've really changed something proactively, it's taken maybe 6 to 12 months for my identity to change as well, where I see myself as the type of person who works out, or the type of person who speaks in public, or the type of person who reads a lot. Recently I started learning to play the guitar. Right now I'm really bad at it, but I'm starting to change my identity as I am a guitarist. So that's something that will help me to build that habit as I practice every single day. So you can see how your identity actually impacts you. And as I said in the book, he goes into a lot more detail. But if you just remember that idea of identity first, then processes, which will create the outcomes, you'll get a totally different experience as you're trying to build your habits. The second idea in the book that really impacted me is this concept of implementation intentions. Now, it sounds like some fancy buzzword, but really what it means is you get very specific about how you're going to start and continue a new habit. So what he suggests is having a specific action, a specific time, and a specific location that you list down that are part of your new habit. For instance, one that I've started in the past 6 months is when I wake up in the morning, I put on my walking shoes and I walk out the door. Okay, so I have a specific action at a specific time and a specific location. And that helps me, just the simple intention there, to be able to pursue that every single day. Now it's getting to a point where I don't have to think about it. I just get up, I put on my walking clothes, and I walk out the door, and then I'm already in the habit. So something as simple as that implementation intention, that really helps me to stay on track. Another great concept in this sort of part of the book as well is the idea of habit stacking. So already in your life, you have a ton of habits that you have just as part of your life. So, brushing your teeth, or making your bed, or drinking coffee in the morning, or whatever they are, positive and negative habits. So what he suggests is actually stacking the new habit you want next to a habit that you have. So something I have started doing, for example, is as soon as I walk back in from my walk, I have to drink 2 glasses of water. And that gives me a bit of hydration as well. So that habit stacking has helped me. Another great one might be, if you brush your teeth first thing in the morning, maybe you floss as well, something like that. But you're stacking the habit next to one that you already have. Doing this, what it does is it kind of transfers the power of the habit that you have, and it makes it much easier to get the second one started. Trust me, habit stacking is a great tool. And the third concept that has really impacted me is the idea of using your environment to help you to build new habits. A lot of us don't realize how much our habits are built because of the physical environment around us. And that includes, as well as physical things, it also includes other people. So you have to be mindful of how they might be influencing your habits as well, which is a pretty well-worn concept in self-help, so it's not something that's groundbreaking. But I started to realize how much I can set up my environment for success to help me to actually do better and to have better habits. So one thing I started doing a couple of months ago, which has greatly helped me, is I started putting my phone in the kitchen at night, actually charging it overnight in the kitchen rather than having it next to my bed. Because I used to always get into bed and I had the habit, probably like most of us do, of going on social media or checking emails or whatever, or reading the news. And I would waste another 20, 30 minutes at the end of the day just doing that. Plus I wouldn't sleep as well because the blue light would be messing with my circadian rhythms. So I just started putting my phone in the kitchen, the last thing at night, plug it in. I don't use it. It's in there. I have some books next to my bed, but I find I just go to sleep within about 10 minutes now instead of actually, 30 minutes to an hour just wasted staring at a screen in my bed. So something as simple as putting my phone in the kitchen has totally changed my habits because the environment has changed. Another example that I mentioned just before, I always, about, walking in the mornings, I always put out my walking shoes and everything ready for the morning. So I get out of bed, I'm half awake, I just put it on. I don't think about it because it's prepared and it's ready. I don't have to go searching for everything. I'm ready to go in the morning. So simple habits like that can really help you. Another one is when I'm working in my home office, I shut the door behind me. That might sound ridiculous, but having that door open actually kind of gives me freedom to walk out into my house, which makes me get out of work mode. But if if I'm in this office and I'm working, whether I'm on a client call or I'm writing something, whatever it is, having that door shut makes me feel like I'm in the office. So that simple thing of closing the door behind me and being at work has made a huge difference to my habits and my behavior during the day. So these are just some examples that I've had. I'm sure you have some as well that have helped you, but think about how can your environment actually help you to build better habits. Sometimes it means removing things, sometimes it means adding things, but realistically, there's little things you can do in your environment that will make a huge difference to your success. So in conclusion, this book is a goldmine of simple, practical, useful ideas that can help you to build new habits. As I said in the beginning, I love the fact that James Clear is not some guru who's telling you to be just like him. He seems like a regular guy who has just studied the idea of habits and how they work, and he's implemented them into his life. So you feel the same kind of way. And by the end of the book, you have a real understanding of what it takes to basically build a new habit, and you want to get started. At least that's been my experience. And he has a great quote towards the end of the book. There's a little section in there where he kind of sums up all his major lessons. That the price of the book is worth just that simple chapter, but I would say that itself is worth reading over and over again if you're wanting to refine and remember what it is that this book teaches. So I want to finish with a quote that he has towards the end of the book, and it is, "Success is not a goal to reach, it's a system to improve, an endless process to refine." And I think that's exactly what we're talking about when we talk about habits. It's not that we have to achieve, this great goal at the end, but we want to live our life in a certain way. And that's what this book has really encouraged me to do. And I hope that as I've started to build new habits, I start to do more of these book reviews, because I've got more habits in place now. I'm reading a lot more, and I want to start to have a weekly time when I record different videos to share with you. So I hope that you'll join me in the future for more frequent book reviews. I know this one's been a long time coming. Thank you to everyone who's been part of my channel. If you like what we're doing here, please stick around, subscribe, like, hit the bell, whatever you do. I'd love to have you as part of our channel here. And please leave your comments below. If you've read the book or you're interested in improving your habits, I'd love to hear what you have to think. So this is Daniel. Thanks. I really recommend the book, Atomic Habits. Check it out if you get a chance. Thanks for watching. And as always, thank you for improving yourself.